Hi, I'm Abby. This is Abby Matt Reads. Spencer's back.
Hello.
My penguin. And today we are doing the Harry Potter tag, which is an original tag made by my favourite booktuber, Princess from Castle Libraries. It's all about different houses and characters and questions related to those houses and characters. And I'm going to have my penguin slave read out the questions to me.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I will put Princess's original video down in the description, and you should definitely check it out. She's got a brilliant channel. She's absolutely fantastic. I love her so much. Okay, so shall we start with the first one?
Yep, always good to start with the first one.
Yeah, we start with houses first, I think.
Yep, houses first, and the first house up is Ravenclaw, a book you walked away from feeling enlightened.
Okay, I haven't got this book on me, but I have mentioned it before. Is it there?
Yeah, it's going to be up there, yeah.
Right. And it's going to be Darren Brown's Happy, which is it's a non-fiction book written by one of the most intelligent men in the world, I think.
Yeah, he is. He is really clever. He's really clever. I love watching his programs.
The things he can do. If you Americans don't know about him, look him up on like YouTube or somewhere on the internet, because the stunts he can pull with his like psychological prowess are amazing. And he wrote a book called Happy, which looks into the notion of happiness and how we chase it, and sometimes things that we do that are counterproductive to happiness, and things that we should do to try and achieve it, and what is it even, you know, because it must mean certain things to certain people. And he went right into, it's going to make me feel bad because I can't actually remember what it is. I've got to read it again. But he went into all these different philosophers all throughout the ages and talked about their notions of how you should live life and try and achieve happiness through that. Like there's Stoicism, and he went all the way back into like Plato and Socrates and things like that. It was so interesting, and I have to read it again because, like I said in the past video, I have absolute goldfish memory.
You do? You do have goldfish memory? Yeah.
I can never remember our anniversary.
No, she can't. Neither of us can. But so who cares, really? Eh?
We'll celebrate when we feel like celebrating.
Yep.
But anyway, that and Ravenclaw is my house as well, by the way.
Yep.
So
okay.
That is the book I came away from feeling enlightened.
Okay, and book number 2, my personal house, which was quite a surprise to me, Slytherin, a book where you're rooting for the villain.
I found this the hardest question, because I don't usually root for the villain in anything, and because I don't really read like much fantasy or anything like that, so there is no real villains in the books I read. But I had a good think about it, and I thought of Wuthering Heights and Heathcliff, and how I think he's kind of misunderstood, because I understand how he became so bitter and how he became so moody and kind of cruel in a way. But he had a hard time of it, and so yeah, I feel sorry for him. And if you've read Wuthering Heights, you'll know. If you haven't read Wuthering Heights, read it. I'm more of a Charlotte Bronte girl, but yeah, Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights.
Yep. Okay then. So numero 3, Hufflepuff, a book that made you feel you are a part of the friendship.
I've actually got this one.
Miracle People.
Yeah, the Chalkman by C.J. Tudor. A amazing book. It's got kind of feelings of It from Stephen King in it, in a way that it kind of splits between the children's childhood and the after effects of maybe what the horror they experienced back then, maybe coming back in their adult life. I am going to hopefully do a review on this book soon, because I've had it for ages. And it's an amazing cover. It actually feels like a chalkboard in a way.
Yeah, it does. It's really cool.
That if you drew, like, the chalkmen, these are the chalkmen that are, like, drawn all over the scene of murders and things like that. And it's really original, and it is a great book. But the children's friendships that are portrayed are like, because it's a British book as well, so it's a bit more relatable to the children's friendships in it, for me anyway, of course. And I really love that, and you did really feel as though you were part of the gang, so that is my answer for that one.
Cool. Okay then, on to numero 4, Gryffindor, a book that took strength and courage to get through.
Well, for me, this is I Stopped Somewhere by T.E. Carter, and I did a review on this a while ago. And not a while ago, when was it? About a month ago?
Yeah, something like that, not that long.
Yeah, and well, it is about sexual abuse and rape and dark subjects. It's told in a very beautiful way, but being a rape survivor myself, it wasn't the easiest book to read, but that didn't mean I was uncomfortable. I felt more as if I could relate so deeply, but it just absconded me into this narrative, and yeah, I suppose it did take courage for me to get through it, but it was a good experience in all.
Yeah, very, very good. And so on to the characters now, starting off with the main man, Harry, a book that started off weak but ended with a punch.
That would... Do that again, I wasn't looking.
Ba-dum!
You are a very powerful man.
She knows.
I know. Yeah. The Sparshall Affair by Alan Hollinghurst, and this is a very good book, but
Oh, my phone's gone flying.
Oh, put that back up, babe.
Oh, it's all going Pete Tong over here. Never trust Abby anywhere near any computers.
No.
What? 1 second, people. There you go. We're all back now.
Everything's okay. Don't panic. Everything's okay. Breathe. Right, what was the question?
The question was, Harry, a book that started off weak but ended with a punch.
The Sparshall Affair. I'll show it to you again. Yeah, the Sparshall Affair. And it was a brilliant book about kind of homosexuality throughout the ages and in different generations of the same family. Starting from when it was kind of illegal up until there were same-sex couples having children and things. So it was extremely interesting to read. But for the first part of it, it was just some men in I think it was Oxford University, and it went quite slowly, and I didn't quite understand a lot what was going on. There was a lot of like old university Oxford terms that I wasn't familiar with. And I thought, oh, I hope this doesn't continue throughout the whole book, but it didn't. It ended, not just ended brilliantly, but it became even more brilliant. So that's my Harry answer.
Yeah, okay, now on to his best mate, Ron Weasley, a book where the main character has to overcome a fear.
Well, this was a hard one as well. Please don't knock the mic over with my boobs. But, I picked Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. Basically because I think she overcomes two fears in this book. She is a kind of social recluse at the beginning and gradually kind of enters more and more into society, which I think is something to overcome.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But I've got social anxiety, and that's a very big thing to have to overcome.
Yeah, exactly. And but there's also a big thing near the end that she has to face her fear and overcome that I can't tell you because it will spoil the book. But those of you who have read it will know what I'm on about. Yeah, but brilliant book again. 5 stars I gave this one.
Woohoo! Okay, so next up is my favourite from the series, Hermione. I wonder why. A book with a super smart female main character.
Well, one of my not history books, but historical fiction books. This lovely big book.
What a huge book.
Because I love big books and I cannot lie. Yeah. Okay, that's enough.
Oh.
Yeah, but this is the second in the Kingsbridge trilogy, and there's this character called Caris in there who wants to be a doctor, but this is the 14th century, so it's not really going to work. But she kind of kicks ass anyway and starts working in the monastery and feels that she knows more about medicine than the monks, and she doesn't become very popular for that, but she gets stuff done. And she was my favourite part about this entire book. It's not all about her, but it is mainly about her and the work she does, and it's very interesting. Read all three of these, but they can stand alone on their own. And yeah, she was just a brilliant character.
Yeah, yes, she was. Alright then, next up we've got Luna Lovegood, a book that was weird but turned out to be a favourite.
Okay, well, I got this book from the library, so I don't have it with me anymore. So once again, the little magical cover will appear. I hope so anyway. And I've chose the Insomniac Museum, which is quite a new book. It's a new British book, so I don't know if you Americans have heard of it. But it's about a father and his daughter who's 17, and they've been like holed up in this one flat, like for basically all of the daughter's life. She can't even remember going outside this flat ever.
Wow.
And the father's a heroin addict, and he's kind of mentally ill, and kind of has kind of messed up her life. But I on page 3 I was like a bit despairing because there's no like punctuation marks for speech or anything like that. It's written kind of poetically, and
it was really annoys her, the lack of punctuation.
Yeah, I'm such a grammar Nazi. So page 3 I told Spencer I didn't want to read
the book,
it,
but I said to keep at it.
Yeah, and it was good advice because by page 8 I was hooked, and it turned out to be one of that's his victory dance. Do it again. Yeah. You don't want to see my victory dance. It never happens. But yeah, it turns out to be one of my favourite books of the year. So, like, the Insomnia Museum. That was great.
Marvellous. Okay, so next up is Gilderoy Lockhart Name, a series that started off great but ended up flopping. Not worth the hype.
Okay, there was a series, the Innocent Mage series. This isn't the first one, this is the second one. And there are 4 books in there, and it's about a guy called Asher who is part of a race that isn't supposed to have magic, but he escapes his little fisherman town and goes to the town where most of the occupants are magical, and gets ingratiated into this town. And he doesn't know, but there is a prophecy about him arriving in this town and saving all these people from this unknown danger. The thing is that Asher and everyone in his race are not allowed to use magic, and the punishment is death. So it becomes very tricky for him to operate in this. And the first 3 books I loved, but the 4th I thought was a bit crap. So I was a bit sad about that it didn't end, and it just wasn't as good as the others. So the Innocent Mage series, I think you should read it anyway. It's the only kind of one of the only kind of fantasy series I've ever read, because I don't read like many series of anything. But
no, you don't.
But still read it anyway. Just know that book 4 is not the best one.
Alright then, people, we are finally on to the last question. Snape, Severus Snape. A book where you thought the character was the antagonist, but ended up being rather helpful.
But another book I've already reviewed, Fellside, about a woman called Jess who wakes up in a hospital room, and she knows she's like a heroin addict, and she can remember flames, and it turns out that she set fire to her flat and killed a 10-year-old boy that was in the flat next to her. So she is kind of a villain. She's sent to Fellside's women's prison, but she does kind of redeem herself. There is this character that shouldn't be there in the prison itself that she helps. So she redeems herself, and I won't give anything away, but there are twists and turns along the way that prove that she may not be this monster after all.
Okay, so that's all the questions done, and now on for you to tag people.
I'm going to tag the lovely Hannah. I finally get to tag Hannah.
Yay!
Because she's always tagging me, and now I get to tag her. So Hannah from Books and Other Things, Rebecca from Rebecca Books, Joe from Not So Average Joe, and Talia from Bookish Paradise. Even if you don't like Harry Potter, you should do these ones, because the questions that Princess made really like good. They really make you think about the books you've read, and you'll come up with really original answers, hopefully.
Yeah.
So okay, so to end that now, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It will mean a lot to me. I'm trying to grow my channel, and I'm really happy with how it's going at the moment, actually. But hit the little bell button, because YouTube are dicks and they won't tell you about my videos, my really important videos, if you don't do that. It would be great if you could put a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. If you haven't, don't put a thumbs down. It will break my heart and I'll cry. But you can find me also on Twitter at AbbieMattReads. I have a Facebook page at facebook.com/AbbieMattReads, and I think that's it.
I think that is it. All them will be down below. And so, yeah, thank you for watching, people. Bonjour.